And good morning, and thanks for joining us. I'm Scott Feiss, the managing editor of IAAPA here at IAAPA's headquarters. And I have to tell you, these are unprecedented times. I am by myself, except for one other teammate here in the building. IAAPA, doing its part to social distance ourselves, came into work today to be able to bring you a live chat to talk about our industry and how COVID-19 is affecting everything we do. Now, IAAPA's role in the attractions industry is to serve all of our members and help provide connections, and that's what we hope to do today. We are doing this now more than ever than we have in the past, and we have a dedicated IAAPA resource page dedicated to COVID-19, and you can find that scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Now, since we are social distancing, we have brought together a lot of great new technology that we're going to use today, as well as introduce several different experts in their fields who can also talk just a little bit more about what the industry is doing and provide a little hope in the meantime. So we have three different guests, and I'm going to introduce them now. First up, please say hello to Michael Browning. Michael is joining us. There he is, all the way from Texas. Michael, good morning. How are you?
Morning, everyone. Thanks.
Michael is the CEO of Urban Air. Michael, tell us first off a little bit, how is your business doing?
Well, we're closed. We're closed nationwide. We have 130 locations that we closed about 10 days ago. So right now, our franchisees we're hunkered down. Our 12,000 staff members are hunkered down. We're promoting social distancing through closing our locations, and right now we're using the time to clean the facilities. We're using the time to get caught up on any retraining that we need to do and plan for the future. So we're optimistic, but we're doing our part to help the communities that we serve.
Fantastic. We also have joining us Beth Standerly. Beth, we're going to bring you up on screen as well right now. There you are. Beth,
hello.
How are you this morning?
Hello. I was saying I have a superpowered kind of urge to hug everyone. So there you go, everyone, virtual hug.
Fantastic. Beth, you are with Trainertainment. Tell us a little bit about your business and how this virus has affected you.
Yeah, so we serve the FEC community and some industries outside the FEC community, but we're on pause. You know, like Michael said, our customers are closed, and so the coaching and the training that we provide, our word that we're using is pause. It doesn't mean that we're not providing a lot of support. We're talking daily to our customers, trying to provide that kind of support to get through these times, because I think there's some unique opportunities for us. Like, one of the gifts we have today is time that we never had in the past. We talked at a meeting last week that said, you know, we're in the frenzy of busy all the time, and there are all these wonderful ideas that all these entrepreneurs have that they never can implement because they're too darn busy. Well, we have some interesting opportunities in front of us, I think. And do you want me to keep talking? What happened?
Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Beth. We are doing all we can to support our members, and that includes also our team here in Orlando, as well as in the nation's capital. Joining us also now from his home here in Orlando, please say hello to John Hollenbeck, the North American Regional Vice President. Hi, John.
Hey, Scott. How are you today? Hi, everybody. Glad to be here, and hopefully we can shed a little light on what IAAPA is doing, especially in North America. We actually have a lot of efforts going on around the world. Our 4 different regions, we stay in very close contact with each other. But I'm here to talk a little bit about what we're doing in North America to try to help our members wade through this crisis situation. Yep, I'm at home right now, but we're not closed because we're kind of open more than we ever have been, trying to do what we can to help efforts for all of the IAAPA members.
Well, let's start right there, John. First question goes to you. Tell us, what is IAAPA doing to help our more than 6,000 members across the globe in the middle of this crisis?
Well, it is a little bit different from region to region, but in North America, we're doing a lot of the same things that people are doing all over the world. For us, we're taking the association on the road, particularly to Capitol Hill, and trying to work on ways that we can get some of the relief aid that's being legislated right now in the hands of the industry. We do have a call that we've put together with various industry leaders every week, where we talk about topics and ways to be able to, kind of look at ways that we can creatively put together some ideas to, help this epidemic or pandemic, and help each other as well. There's questions, we have sharings. A lot of businesses, like Beth and Michael have stated, are closed. So we actually have the opportunity to talk to a lot of high-level folks in those companies to be able to really push on ways that we can help each other. We do a lot of collaboration with a lot of our other associations around the country, regions, and states. We're trying to share information. And, the bottom line for us right now is we have a third package of relief aid that's being bantered about in the Senate. We all kind of hope it would go a little quicker than it has so far, but it actually gives us some opportunity to be able to contact our Congress and be able to get the views out for the attractions industry and, ask for relief for ourselves. There's a lot of packages and programs that will help our members, but more that we can do. And I would just encourage everybody, you can see the scroll on the bottom of the screen that talks a lot about resources that IAAPA has available on our COVID-19 resource page. A lot of the letters that we've sent to the president, vice president, congressional leaders, our members asking for help and support to try to push through these tough times is very much appreciated. And you can find out a lot, not just about the North American region, about what's going on in the whole world on the website. So make sure you have that in your favorites and that you're using that as a resource to be able to find out kind of what we're doing on a daily basis. We have had some of the media, both in TV, radio stations, as well as, patients in the industry, talk a lot about what's happening in our industry, especially here in Orlando, the theme park capital of the world. Big part of our economy, as it is everywhere. And, we're talking with Michael and Beth today, who represent a lot of smaller attractions that are all over the country. And, those are the ones that need as much help as anybody. So we're trying to do what we can with this video to really push out our message and get everybody supportive and doing what we can to help. We're trying to stay positive, get our piece of the pie, and with everybody's support and help, I think we can, really make a difference. So I just would urge you to hit the IAAPA.org website as the main resource. And of course, if you have any questions or comments, you can always get a hold of anybody on my team through the website. Our email addresses, phone numbers are all there. So we're able to contact it 24/7. I've been in the industry for almost 30 years. So 7-week operation is something I'm used to. So if you ever have a question or a need, just give us a call.
John, you opened the theme parks here in Orlando, Singapore, the Middle East. Any place I missed?
Japan, yes.
Lot of great experience, and our members can all tap into your experience and all of the experience of all of those team members back here at IAAPA, not inside this building, but actually working from home, as John said. A lot of us are accustomed to working 7 days a week to benefit our guests, and in this case, to benefit our members. Next question goes out to Beth. Right now, you talked a little bit about there's some time now for a lot of our members to maybe keep themselves busy by completing projects that normally they wouldn't have time to complete. What are some of your folks telling you who you work with?
Well, it's so interesting. People, I think that when people can get past the, oh my gosh, the fear space, then they get room to be really creative. I was impressed. I bet I talked with, we have a client who has more than 650 restaurant employees that they had to lay off. And as she's talking to me about this through the tears and the angst, I said, they own multiple restaurants. I said, what did you do with the food? And you know what they did? They gave it to their people.
Yeah.
And I thought, how wonderful is that? Because that food is going to perish, and people are in crisis right this minute. And the people that work for us are definitely those folks that work paycheck to paycheck to paycheck. So I thought that was quite creative. We've got people doing absolute cleaning and project rebuild. You know, they kept some of their management team in place. I know for us at Train Entertainment, everybody took a 50% pay cut, and I'm not making them work full time except for me, because that's what we do, right, John? 7 days. um, but we have this opportunity in our own company to really launch and redevelop and develop things from a training perspective that we've only dreamed to do, and we couldn't get out of our own way because of being so busy. And the level of focus is incredible, because we haven't really got anything else bothering you unless you want to leave the news on 24/7. And I can't recommend that. You know, go get your updates and then go live your life inside your four walls. But there's so much room for creativity right now if you can get past that fear. Fear constricts, guys. If you meant to read this, or you wanted to start that, then do it. Don't use this as an excuse not to do.
Michael, let's ask you. Tell me, what are you doing, let's say in this interim, with all of your different FECs?
Sure. Yeah. There's a lot of different audiences that we have to take care of. We've got the 30 million guests that we serve annually. We've got our franchisee or small business owner of our 130 locations. And then we have the 12,500 employees that work at the park. So the first thing that we wanted to do was get the house in order and make sure that Urban Air is extremely strong through the storm and can handle the storm and ready to serve the guests. And so the first thing that we started doing was putting together a financial relief program for our franchisees, where we're getting them rent deferment, loan deferments. We've provided them with royalty and expense deferments from us. And so we really put them in a good cash position to weather the storm. From there, we focused on the 12,500 employees, and myself and some others in the FEC industry worked with leaders from Amazon to provide employees with jobs within 7 days of filling out their application at Amazon locations across the country. So, and Amazon has said that they're not going to provide put pressure on these people to stay when Urban Air and Six Flags and some of the others that are working with Amazon right now open back up for business. Those employees are welcome to come back. So then we started working on our third constituency, which is the guest, realizing that they're at home. How can we stay connected with them without necessarily seeming insensitive? And so we've been sending out coloring book sheets, and we've been sending out fun photos to say, hey, what are the 5 different things between this photo and this photo? Just giving them fun little things to do to take their mind off of the situation. And then all the while, I agree with Beth. It's more quiet, so we're focusing on, okay, when we open back up, what our staffing strategy is going to look like. Our parks need to be immaculate, so we're painting every wall, making the bathrooms shine. We're making sure to clean the floors. We are going to be ready for the pent-up demand that is going to come from the marketplace when mom and kids and dad want to get out of the house that they've been stuck in for 3 or 4 weeks and want to go do something fun. And we're going to be ready to welcome them with open arms.
Tell your guests that A, you are open, and B, that you are ready for business again.
So say that question again, Scott. I'm sorry.
Yeah, when the time comes and you are allowed and able to welcome guests back, how are you going to tell guests, A, we're clean, we're safe, and we're ready to go?
Sure. So Urban Air takes a stance that we've always been safe, we've always been clean, and we're going to maintain our safety and cleaning profile and record. And so, we've call it luck, call it great people on my team, but I mean, we've always been using a disinfect technology that is a fogging, misting technology that's antimicrobial, antifungal. We've been using that since I started the company back in 2011. And so it's just something that we were always doing. And so we've amped up our cleaning page on our website. We've increased accessibility to that page. So there's a shield on our homepage that takes people directly to our cleaning page. It's on the footer of every email. So we are gonna go back to market, and and continue to educate the guests that we have been clean and safe, and we will continue to be clean and safe. I think, and I think the same as Beth thinks, where there is turmoil, there is tremendous opportunity. And I think coming out of this coronavirus season, less people are going to be marketing. So cost per clicks are going to be lower. Cost per thousand are going to be lower. People who maybe don't have the cash coming out of Corona to market will have to sit on the sidelines, and companies who are financially secure coming out of Corona are going to be able to market in a big way, and Urban Air is going to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Beth, we had a conversation on Sunday where you think that there is an opportunity for owners and operators to bring guests back using some incentives, using some discounting. Explain to those who are watching here on Facebook a little bit about your theory and the best practice when it comes to saying, hey, it's okay to have your birthday party back at my place.
Yeah. So, and Michael, I'll be interested in what you think here. I suspect that the comeback will be a little slower. You know, at first, like, it's crazy how my thinking progresses day by day by day. Because at first I thought, oh, you know, we can't even stand a 3 or 4 day snowstorm. Not that you and I know anything about snowstorms, Michael, here in Texas, but you know, people get cabin fever. And so I thought, oh, they'll just flood us. They'll be ready to come back in mass. However, I'm concerned that they won't have any money. You know, that families won't have the same amount of money that they had pre-COVID, and it'll take time for that to ramp up. And so I think maybe for 90 days, we may have to have pandemic parties or COVID crashing or something, where maybe for the first 90 days, if your average birthday party was $350 pre-COVID, it might be $275 afterwards and things like that. And we might consider restructure. We think that at Trainertainment, we will be greatly needed. Lots of people will be trying to get their teams back in place and get the right team in place. And we think that the opportunity for training and coaching and service and that sort of thing will be robust. We're not certain that people will necessarily have the money to pay us. And so we're willing to work with our constituent, with our customer, you know, and I think that I think business owners are going to have to do the same. I think we may have to consider the pre-COVID pricing structure might look a little bit different, at least for 90 days, you know, as we get back into the world. Because I'm really concerned that I'm concerned about people's finances and whether or not regular people are going to have regular money. I think people are going to get used to potentially however long this lasts playing in the backyard, which, wow, isn't that an old idea come to roost? So I think cash is king, Michael. I think you're right. There will be some of the folks in the industry that may decide today's my day to make a different choice about what I do. And so I don't think everybody will come through this okay. I think those that do come through will be those who have cash and who manage it well, who probably did some drastic things. You know, I just can't even imagine the heartbreak, how it must feel to have 12, did you say 12,000 people?
Yes.
You know, I've got my 10 that I can't hardly sleep at night trying to make the best decisions in our company. I applaud what you're having to do.
John Hollenbeck, who is the Vice President of North America for IAAPA, you have worked in the theme park business quite a long time. You've seen the dot-com bubble burst. You also saw the events of September 11th, and then the Great Recession. Tell us, from the different places that you've been, what are some tips, what are some best practices that the different properties that you've worked at these different theme parks around the world, what have they used? What type of, again, tactics have they put in place when they were coming out of an event such as this?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is, you know, we're stronger together than we are apart. And you hear a lot about social distancing, but I think maybe we're physically distancing ourselves, you know, just to try to stop the spread of a virus. But I think socially we've become a lot closer together. I've definitely noticed that in the last few weeks. And in any of my other dealings with theme park openings or actually operating theme parks, it's really about that, is creating team unity, working together for a common goal. And the nice thing about IAAPA is we're here for our members. We're here to be that glue to bring everybody together. So, we're hearing great ideas and thoughts from Michael and Beth today, but there are thousands of members that are out there, particularly in North America, that can share stories, that can help each other out, that can, we are competitors in a way, but we also are a huge family in a way too. And we need to work together to help each other. And I've really seen in any other type of crisis or, stressful times, the more you can band together and try to react and overcome that stress or that crisis, just a stronger, team in the long run. And IAAPA is here and equipped and willing to make that happen for all of our members. And, there's members that might be listening or hearing about this or listen to it later that aren't IAAPA members. And we're here to help everybody. COVID-19 page on the website provides a lot of great resources, but it doesn't have an answer. So if you have an answer or a question, get with us. We're here to help the industry right now, and that's our main focus.
Beth, tell us, how can business owners or owners and operators that are IAAPA members, how can they stay in touch with their employees when they're not coming to work?
Well, I think there's a number of things to do. For me, I use a little plug-in app that's free called Vidyard. And so I'll send a team video, a 30-second, hope you're having a great day, give them something to think about, that sort of thing. We're doing a peer talk thing tomorrow afternoon on Facebook, and that's really neat. One of the ideas that has come to us is, and I guess this is more, how do you stay in touch with your customers rather than your people, but you could use your people to do it. Have kids send letters, for instance, to their mascot, and then read those letters on Facebook out loud. From Timmy Smith, he sent. Anyway, it's just a great idea there. With the team, it's been interesting from a personal perspective. Our team, we have a WhatsApp, and so people are checking in. We're virtual. We're all virtual. We didn't have to get used to that virtual situation that even y'all are having to do there at IAAPA, Scott. But we were kind of used to that, and now it's like the whole world understands but that we can be in the same room together in this kind of space. So I think it makes sense to communicate and communicate fast. I have customers who didn't do any communication, stopped on Monday and didn't do any communication until late in the week. And I think that's one of the most damaging things you can do. People are scared. And Laura on our team has this wonderful saying, with the lack of information, the imagination runs wild. And so people are going to make stuff up. And so you need to be the author of the story that you want out. So I don't think you can over communicate at this time. So
Michael Browning, CEO of Urban Air, tell us, what have you instructed your franchisees to do when it comes to staying in touch with their employees when they're not coming to work right now?
Sure. So we're leveraging a lot of the same technologies that everybody else is, Zoom, GoToMeeting, and so we're having daily huddles. We're continuing to communicate with them about the status of the company, about the status of their employment. So I agree with Beth. Lack of information causes people to make information up. And also, I think being real and transparent with people is important. I just told my staff, I said, look, there is no playbook for this. And that, I could go to bed at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, wake up the next morning, and everything has changed.
Yeah.
And so where we've had a ton of success has been speed at making decisions based on the information that we have, communicating those decisions out, and just being transparent in that I might wake up tomorrow and contradict what I told you yesterday. But we're doing the best that we can. guest first, employees first, right? That's what's important. And securing your business so that when we come out of Corona, there is a business that can continue
Right.
to employ people.
Right.
And communicate. So we're communicating via text message, virtual meetings like Zoom, lots of email. We have Urban Air University where we're able to record videos and content, put it inside of Urban Air University, and then people can consume it at their own pace.
Sure.
And so I just think it's meeting people where they're at and over communicating and just being, bluntly transparent.
Absolutely. Now, we do have a question from those watching at home. Mike Wincup would like to know, do you think we're going to see a pent-up demand after we get through COVID-19 of folks coming back to attractions to take a deep breath, to celebrate with their families that we are returning to what we hope to be a normal lifestyle?
Yeah, I'm an optimist, right? I mean, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an optimist. I'm going to find the silver lining in everything. But my heart tells me that is the case. I think the key, and I'm about to have a system-wide call with all of my franchisees here at 11 Central Time, is I'm a big believer in adoption theory or the adoption curve. So 20%, this is just opinion, but I believe that 20% of our guests are going to have that pent up demand and they're going to be ready to rock. They're the early adopters, right?
Yeah.
They're the early adopters. 60% of people are in the herd, okay?
Yeah.
And then you've got another 20% of people that are the people that lag behind. And so what I'm telling my team is we've got to take the 20% early adopters and we got to turn them into brand ambassadors saying, you know what, we were the first there. It was clean. It was safe. It was so much fun. It was worth the money that we spent to drive the herd. The tail, the key to success out of Corona is going to be, is there going to be a tail? Yes. How short can we make that tail? And I believe we've got to leverage the early adopters to get the herd to come in faster. And so those are things that we're working on right now and strategies that we're working on right now to capitalize on that pent-up demand and provide a great experience to the guests when they're ready.
Absolutely. Beth.
Yeah, so I absolutely agree with Michael, and I do think that the 20% will be who we've got to rely on. I think we have interesting opportunities. Are people going to still want to be physically distant? They're going to be. I think the pent up demand is for them to be socially social with one another. I don't know exactly how we're going to manage all the physical issues. I think that remains to be seen. We're going to create that stuff. That's the stuff that's going on right now, right? And getting people hopeful and kind of through this.
Michael, go ahead.
I think everybody's got to look at their business and say, when the restrictions are lifted on assembly uses or like ours, what will be the lasting impact of Corona? So it might not just be we're opening the doors and it's a free for all for everybody. We may have to operate differently. We may have to stagger the way we host parties. We may have to have people start at certain attractions and rotate them around in time intervals versus just it being a free for all. We may have to limit capacity on particular attractions in an even more organized way than we did in the past. We don't know, I mean, every time we're not quarantined here in Dallas and Tarrant County, right? We're not a shelter in place. So I went to Lowe's over the weekend and it was a 1 in, 1 out in Lowe's, right? I went to Whataburger, right? And people were handing me my food with rubber gloves and a mask. And I asked my wife, I said, is this the new normal? Right? Like what
for today?
You don't know, but you need to be ready to service the guest and whatever the new normal is going to be. And not, because if you're not ready, then that's when you're not going to be able to capitalize on the early adopters and the pent up demand because you don't know what they really want and how they want to be served.
Right. And we got to be able to deliver it in a way that provides comfort, fun, safety, like all of those things. And I do think, I think we have a short attention span as Americans. And so I think what matters is how long the 10 people, no more than 10 people. I think that matters. The longer and the longer and the longer and the longer that happens, I think the more our habits may change a little bit. And then it'll make a difference what we do on the other side. I think if it's relatively short, it may be a pretty serious blip, but it may not
We've
change.
seen that,
Yeah, we just don't know.
right?
And I think everybody's got to keep it in perspective, right? I'm telling our franchisees, you signed a 10-year lease, 10-year franchise agreement, and most of you have 10-year SBA loans. So yes, are we in a storm? We are absolutely in a storm. But if you follow the steps in our franchise, in our relief program that we've outlined, when we get now 5 years from now, this is a small point of time in our overall life of an urban location, of your 10-year lease, your 10-year SBA. So let's make good decisions today that aren't going to impact us for the next years. And that's how you treat a guest when they want a refund on a birthday party. It's, that stuff is what's going to hurt. Like if people are taking short-minded approaches to refunding birthday parties, how they're treating the guest, they're not going to forget how you treated them in a time of crisis.
Right.
I guarantee that.
Right.
And you've got to make sure that even though it may hurt now, you've got to make sure that you're thinking about the long-term viability of your business when you come out of this.
Oh, I think that's so well said. A short-term decision that has a long-term impact is not smart. You've got to be, I think that's so brilliant. We've got to, because I think we are in that, what have I got to do right now? Because we've got to make those decisions, and those decisions have to be super good. But let's look to the future. Let's look and see what good comes of it. We're Americans, for God's sake. We're full of ingenuity, and we know how to overcome. So.
Absolutely. Beth, you mentioned earlier, and in the time we have left, I want to go around the room one last time. You mentioned the word hope, and there is a lot of hope out there. Michael said that he is an optimist. Today, so far, we are taping this, broadcasting live right now on Tuesday, March 24th. Right now, the Dow Jones has soared this morning on the news that over in China right now, the lockdown is being lifted. The Great Wall of China, portions of it that have been closed since January are now reopening. And there is hope in China that this is now starting to wear itself out. So at the time we have left, Michael, one more time, let's hear from you when it comes to just giving us some hope, some positivity that, yes, we will get through this.
Yeah, look, we all have our freak out moments. I was talking to a mentor of mine who was the CEO of FedEx Kinko's and is on my board. And, I'm like, Ken, man, I'm freaking. And he's like, man, he goes, I was the CEO in 9/11. And I was telling him, man, nothing like this has ever happened. And he's like, yeah, planes never hit buildings back on 9/11, right? And it's just, there's just always a first. And as Beth has said, we as Americans in the world overall in general has always come out of these things. And it's not to say you're not scared. Anyone who tells you as a business owner that is not scared right now,
liar.
They've got the same. They're lying to you, right? So here's what I love. I always tell people, being scared should heighten your senses. Being scared and it should allow you to evaluate the situation and just really understand what's going on. And now is the time when really good leaders should emerge and lead. Now is a time that members should be thankful they're a part of IAAPA. Now is the time when Urban Air franchisees are very happy they're a part of the Urban Air system. And because we will come out of this.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
the key is, how many bumps, bruises, right, battle wounds do we have coming out of it? And how are we going to capitalize on the opportunity when we come out? And because we will. And the news from China is amazing, right? And there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and we are going to learn from this, and it's going to change, how we interact. It's going to change how we approach different things like this in the future. But there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and I am excited to get there.
Yes. Yeah. So I think we've got tremendous opportunity to right size things. I think the competition has has expanded enormously. And I think, like Michael said, this is a time for leaders, people who are brave enough to stand up when they're scared and to be transparent about the fact that they don't know everything, but that they're looking for an answer that is good for their community, that's good for their team, that's good for their family, and maybe not all in that order. I think those are the people that are really going to, I'm going to go so far as to say thrive. I haven't, in this short 10-day, 12-day situation, I wouldn't be so bold as to say that I'm in a thriving position yet, but I'm going to be. And we're going to be able to translate that to every single person we serve. There's so much opportunity to right size your team. If you were unhappy with the group of folks that you were surrounded with, well, I suspect you just got rid of all of them. And so do it right. Do it right. Decide what you stand for. Decide what kind of person gets to work for your organization. And then don't settle. Do not settle. You got a new opportunity. It's a new day for sure.
Well said. Both of you, thank you very much. We're going to close out our conversation here with John Hollenbeck, the Vice President of IAAPA North America. John.
Yeah, Scott, I would just add to that, there are a lot of questions that are out there. Anytime you have a situation or a time in life where you've never experienced it before, you're going to have a lot of questions. Both Michael and Beth have great thoughts and can see kind of where they're going for the future, but it still is full of questions. So I would just encourage any of our members to not think any question that they have is one that's stupid, or I should know this, or I shouldn't ask that, because we all have questions. And
Yes.
I think some of the learnings that we can, as a global industry and a global association at IAAPA, is we can learn from each other. We can go with our friends in the APAC region and find out just how they are reopening sections of, the wall, and, do things to figure out logistical ways to get reopen ourselves, or find out what did or didn't work, when other places open, share stories, ask those questions. And, we're committed here, especially in North America, and I'm sure I can speak for all my counterparts around the world. We're committed to be kind of the sounding board or the clearinghouse for those questions and helping to provide answers. I talked a lot today about our COVID-19 piece of our website. That's a very small piece of that website that has a lot of great learnings. There's resources throughout in education and other ways that you can really go about finding out some answers to those questions. But you know what? If you don't find the answer, ask us and we'll find somebody that can help. I guarantee you pick up the phone and call 99.9% of an IAAPA member, they are going to talk to you on the phone and give you some answers to those questions. So be vocal about what you need, be vocal about what you're doing that works, and please be vocal about what you're doing that doesn't work, because we'll all learn from that and grow moving forward.
As John said, we have IAAPA colleagues around the world. The majority of them are practicing social distancing, working from home, but we are still working. As John said, we want to hear from you. Now more than ever, IAAPA is working for you on your behalf, doing what we can to support our members. Thank you very much for joining us today. Beth, Michael, John, thank you. Continued good health. And we will do this again here in the future as we continue to work on behalf of our members in the wake of COVID-19. Here at IAAPA headquarters in Orlando, Florida, I'm Scott Weiss, packing up now on my way back home to work in place. But again, thank you very much for joining us, and please be in touch. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, John.